Mr. Chavez, I'm going to have to ask that I'm going to hand over the gavel to you, and I'll be back momentarily.
Please continue.
Yes,
where's the time at right now? Where are we at the time? 7:30. You have 30 minutes more for your 30 seconds more for your testimony.
You're asking a lawyer to be quick. So what this bill is really about is opt-in or opt-out for outside providers. That's really what this is. There's a lot of other things that could be addressed, like giving parents the actual materials that should be part of this bill, I think, if we're interested in enabling and empowering parents to make intelligent decisions, which is the state law. Obviously, your RAND study that was cited in the legislative analysis shows that opt-out policies get more students to participate than opt-in. And of course, with opt-in, if you follow up with phone calls and other types of things, you get more participation.
And your point
However,
is?
the point is there's countervailing public policy, which is also that parents need to be involved in this, and that we need to balance these things of optimum and maximum participation versus the rights of parents to participate in the sexual development and moral development of their children.
Thank you.
Opt-in basically gives schools the reason to actually keep parents in mind when they're deciding who their outside providers are going to be. Because they're not going to pick someone super controversial.
Thank you. You made your point. Could we just have supporters state their organization, their name, their organization, and state your support, please?
You can go ahead and say you support. You can speak into the mic.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Camille Giglio. I'm from Contra Costa County with the NOISE Coalition, which is No to Irresponsible Sex Ed. We are the group giving voice to the parents in Akalani's district, and we encourage you, please, consider that this is a parental rights issue.
Thank you.
Parents vote on bond issues. Please support.
Thank you.
I'm Janelle Trevathan from Pleasant Grove, California, mother, grandmother, and strong supporter of parental responsibility and rights.
Thank you.
And this bill.
Wynette Sills, mother of 3 students who graduated from public high school, and we support this bill.
Thank you.
Patricia Thompson, Concerned Women for America, California State Director representing over 20,000 members. We strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Patricia Del Marmo. I'm the Northern California Area Director for Concerned Women for America, and we ask that you support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Ralph Merletti from the Fruit Ridge area of Sacramento County, South Sacramento, and I'm a member of St. Rose Parish, South Sac, and also as an educator, as a substitute teacher in a couple of districts in Northern California. I am concerned about students' moral development. I strongly support this bill.
Thank you.
Liz Freilich from Concord. I'm representing the Contra Costa Citizens for Responsible Government, which is a local pact, and we're in support of 517. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elben Romberg, Californians for Parental Rights. Promiscuity promoting Planned Parenthood shouldn't be allowed in the schools at all, especially in a coercive fashion where the students, in effect, do not have an opportunity to exempt themselves.
Thank you. Any other witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman, I did have this one more witness, and she can just, if she could.
Could you state your name and say your supporter?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Rebecca Pearson. I'm a director of education. I'm also a former clinical educator with 10 years of experience on comprehensive health and wellness education in both the military and public health setting. I fully support AB 517. One very quick note I want to make very clear. This bill is not an attack on Planned Parenthood. This bill is in promotion of parental rights. Planned Parenthood can very easily be tied to emotional issues and political issues, and it's very important that we distinct that we are not attacking Planned Parenthood. We are basically giving rights to parents when third-party consultants without California teaching credentials will be educating their children on comprehensive health-based education.
Thank you very much. Is there any opposition to the bill? Could you please come up to the table, and could we have make room for them to speak, please? We'll afford you the same opportunity. You have 8 minutes. Don't feel obligated to use the whole, but 8 minutes. Please start the time.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Phillida Burlingame, and I'm the Reproductive Justice Policy Director at the ACLU of California. We were a sponsor of the California Sexual Health and HIV/AIDS Prevention Education Act, SB 71, authored by Senator Kuehl in 2003, and we have worked since the passage of that legislation to facilitate its implementation in schools across the state. SB 71 established the uniform passive consent or opt-out requirement that is in effect today. The goal of the legislature in creating the opt-out requirement was to ensure that students are not unintentionally denied access to this important instruction. A study by the RAND Corporation found that active consent policies did not accurately reflect parents' wishes. 87% of parents who did not return the forms, in fact, had no objection to their child's participation in class. Prior to SB 71, HIV prevention education and sexual health education did not have identical consent requirements. This created confusion at the school level that resulted in nearly 40% of schools being out of compliance with the law. AB 517 would create a similarly disjointed system by requiring active consent for instruction provided by outside agencies while maintaining passive consent for instruction provided by classroom teachers, even if they are part of a unified curriculum. This would create an unnecessary logistical burden for schools. Outside agencies such as Planned Parenthood play an important role in providing sexual health education in California schools. Research conducted by the University of California, San Francisco in 2011 found that 1/4 of California schools relied on outside providers for sexual health education, in part because schools felt these providers had more subject matter expertise than their classroom teachers. Young people need accurate, complete information to help them make decisions about their health and relationships. Current law requires that sexual health education be comprehensive and be appropriate for students of all genders and sexual orientations. Schools are a critical environment for providing young people with the knowledge and skills they will need at whatever age they become sexually active. Research from the Public Health Institute shows that 89% of California parents support comprehensive sexual health education. This support cuts across all geographic regions and demographic groups. Those parents who don't want their students to participate in sexual health education can opt them out. The current system properly balances parental rights with the needs of students and the desire of virtually all parents in California for young people to receive sexual health education. I respectfully urge your no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in opposition? The testimony? Well, just please come to the mic then and state your name and your organization.
Thank you. Assemblymember Alice Kessler here representing the California Academy of Family Physicians. We are in opposition to the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Maya Duran with California Latinas for Reproductive Justice in opposition to the bill.
Thank you.
Rebecca Gonzalez with the National Association of Social Workers California chapter in opposition.
Thank you very much.
Joe Michael for Equality California in opposition.
Thank you.
Kathy Mossberg representing the California Family Health Council in opposition.
Thank you.
I'm Michaela McCraney. I'm a teen mom from Oakley, California that did not get enough information about birth control from Planned Parenthood in my sex ed class. I believe that if I had gotten such information, I may have not had become in the situation I am. I am opposed.
Thank you.
Christina Romero, representing Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California, 115 health centers around the state, in strong opposition.
Thank you.
Lydia Bourne, representing American Academy of Pediatrics, 5,000 board-certified pediatricians, and we are in opposition to AB 517.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Asia Vining. I'm a teen mother, and I wanted to oppose this because I also didn't get enough education on sex ed, and I feel like more teens should have education on sex ed to kind of like prevent the pregnancy thing that's going around. So I oppose.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to state their name in opposition? Seeing none and have heard from both sides, and now go to the members. Any members like to make comments? Any other comments? Ms. Weber, did you wish to make a comment?
I was just going to simply say I appreciate those who've come, and obviously you've raised a number of issues. Some of those issues seem to be very district specific in terms of how things operate. I've worked for years with various school districts and seen the, as well as a parent when my kids were in school, and have had the opportunity to review the material and hear the discussions, and never probably experienced some of the things you experienced. So it seems like that some of these are really some district issues that need to be dealt with. I think the most compelling issue for me is your comment, really, that said that the percentage of kids who basically opt in and opt out. And we know that at high school particularly, it's difficult to get parental involvement. Materials come home, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And you end up with a difficult task of just getting the parents at high school to respond. And it's not always a reflection of their point of view. And so, to me, the opt-out, that if you don't want to do it, you can sign it, is sufficient, because the parent generally who has a concern will sign out and will ask questions. Where if we make it a situation where you have to opt in, we're going to actually see fewer of our students taking the courses that they need to take. And particularly those students who may have less parental control and less parental engagement, who really need the information more than anyone, are going to find themselves not getting the information because they didn't return the form, or their parents weren't aware, or maybe their parents weren't engaged in their lives. So I think, we've found over the years that the concept of opting out is a much stronger piece than one that opts in, because oftentimes the parents who are more engaged and probably the most concerned at some point will be those who will read the material and who will opt out. And so for the sake of basically reaching the vast majority of the students that we need to reach, I can't support this bill at this time. But thank you very much for bringing the information forward. And obviously there are some issues that need to be addressed at that individual school district's level.
Yes. Thank you. Member?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for all the testimony. As a parent, I am very sensitive to the concerns about parents saying that you asked for information and it was denied, that you weren't given an opportunity to be aware of what was being provided so that you could give input. And I totally am sensitive to that as a parent. I don't have an opinion about opt-in or opt-out. I really don't. And I don't have studies behind me and data to say that one's better than the other. I'll tell you honestly, I don't ever want to do anything that's going to make it harder for young people to get information, and that's why I don't think I can support this bill. My concern is always the same. I don't want young people getting information from other young people or getting bad information. And so my concern is, even if there were some facilitators who went outside the bounds of what should have been provided, I hate to see us make a change that could inadvertently impede the ability of young people to get the right kinds of information with parental involvement, of course. I guess I'd ask this question to the author, because I've spoken with you, and I know that you're very concerned about young people. Have you given any consideration to working through school site councils on vetting curriculum that outside facilitators might use? I don't remember much from being on the school board, but I know we had a school site council that was supposed to vet all curriculum. And if that should also be extended to any curriculum, whether it's life skills or sexual education or health awareness, and have you given any consideration to working through some of the existing structures that might provide a better outcome around the curriculum discussion?
Well, I definitely want to work with the committee on some of these other issues that have been brought up, because I think they're good ones. Maybe one is that we need more information when a third-party vendor comes on campus. Who's going to be doing the instruction and what are their credentials. That might be good information for students to have. But I think also maybe having on-site councils, or in different districts it's different, maybe PTA or parent organizations, so that they can preview these classes and have some input into what's going to be in the sex ed program. So I'd be willing to work on that. If opt-in is something that bothers you, the one thing I would say about that is, with regard to the RAND study, that was done in 1989. It was done on drugs, drugs in schools, and not on sex education. And it was a 200 student population that they did the study on. So it's not really the most up-to-date study. I wouldn't say it's the most relevant to the situation we're talking about right now. But if your concern is with the opt-in, under this bill, opt-out is still basically the status quo for in-class instruction. It's only when third parties would come onto campus that it would be opt-in under this bill. But again, I'm willing to work on other concepts to at least empower parents more in the sex education.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. I appreciate your willingness to work with others. Again, I just don't want to be a part of anything that could inadvertently limit the ability of any student to get good information. And just sitting here trying to think about what opt-out versus opt-in might look like, you know, I can imagine circumstances where it might be hard for some student to get the permission slip, to get the consent, and I just don't want to see us limit anything. But thank you for what you shared today. Thank you.
Thank you.